Year 3 have been looking at MI3.
We have been solving cases such as the missing spines, stolen shapes, by using different skills,
such as bar charts, partitioning and describing shapes.
Year 3, in literacy, we have focused on punctuation, paragraph and stories.
We planned our own stories and write them in our books.
In Year 3 science, we've been learning a lot about rocks and soils. We've learnt lots of new words such as permeable and fossilisation. Humanities, Year 3 have been looking at stone, bronze and iron age.
We have done a workshop about what happened in these times.
Did you know that metal didn't start to be used until 2500 BC? In art, we were focusing on oil pastel drawing, looking at the middle ground, foreground and background.
The artist we looked at was named by Henry Rousseau, and he was specialised in weather painting.
In RE, we have been looking at the different parts of a church, such as a pulpit, a pew, a Bible and stained glass windows.
In DT, we have been thinking of yummy ingredients and bringing them in and making our own sandwiches.
In PE, we've been learning to do a Celtic country dance. It was tricky to know what the right step is.
In ICT, we have learned to make our own folders and use a keyboard without looking down.
We've been playing on our recorders 2 songs called Caterpillar Bye Bye and Traffic Jam.
In French, we've been using Google Earth to discover places in France. We've also been learning how to introduce ourselves in French.
In PSHE, we have been talking about new beginnings and settling in. My favourite thing about in SASM is the playground.
My favourite thing about SASM is lunchtime.
What I like about SASM is that we do lots of fun things during our learning.
The thing I like about SASM is that the lessons are fun and the staff are nice and you can ask them for help with anything. Favourite thing in SASM is using MyMath, which is a computer program.
My favourite thing in SASM is tennis club and the sandwich maths. We have been learning column addition, subtraction and multiplication methods. In Year 4 maths, we have also been learning EAR methods that are efficient, accurate and reliable methods.
This half-term we have been learning about historical settings in literacy, which has joined with our humanities topic about Roman and the Britons and Saxons.
This term, literacy, is the escape from Pompeii, and I can't wait to be learning about the volcanic eruptions next half-term. This term, we have been learning about the Roman Britons and the Saxons, and we learnt about Boudicca's rebellion and how the Picts fought in a war.
On Romans Day we had a lot of fun. We watched a production about important people in Rome. We also made shields for our houses in the school.
In science, we have been learning about the digestive system. We have made plasticine models and podcasts about it. To do electricity and science next half-term.
Year 5 say that we make light box theatres. In French, we have been learning about animals, and there is a game where we tap the animal when Miss Byrne says it in French.
In ICT, we have been answering questions about an app called Welcome to the Web.
For PE, we have been learning about how to have control in football and how to pass in good techniques. In indoor PE, we have learned about how to make performances with at least 3 teddy bear roles in it after an apparator.
In music this time we have been learning how to use beats and use rhythms.
RE, we have been talking about Moses and the story of the 10 Commandments.
In PSHE this half term we have been learning about the effects of bullying and how to treat people.
For SMSC week, the Polar Explorer Ben was so amazing and the blubber gloves were so cool.
My favourite thing about SASM is when we did the mini market because it was so fun and exciting. We got to bring in things from home and make our own stalls, and parents would come in and buy stuff off our stalls, and all the money went to the Bishop's Lent Appeal.
My favourite thing about SASM is theme days, especially Pajama Day. In Pajama Day we dress up in our pyjamas and we donated £1 which went to the charity.
SASM is the activities in the playground and we have lots of fun.
What I like about SASM is that we always get
This term we've been learning about angles, multiplication, area and perimeter. I now know a lot. I now know how to calculate area and perimeter, but it isn't hard when you have a great teacher like Miss Andrews.
Literacy. We've done poems, instructions and punctuation.
In the poetry, we did stuff about our older people, like grannies, granddads, aunts, uncles, and we also, in our instructions, we did stuff about board games. So we had to make our own board game and write an instruction list about it. In science, we have been learning about the solar system.
We did this thing called the Learning Dome, which is basically a blow-up planetarium, and we did it in the hall. There's loads of star constellations in there, and we learned about the North Star and why that's important.
The phases of the moon are new moon, waxing crescent, first quarter, waxing gibbous, full moon, waning gibbous, last quarter, waning crescent, and then it goes back to the beginning.
This term we have been looking at Jamaica. When we have been looking at Jamaica, we have been looking at various things like advantages and disadvantages of tourism, history of Jamaica and much more. I really like this topic because it's really fun to see how different Jamaica is to England. Yeah, and I'd rate this 5 out of 5 because it's really interesting. This term we have been looking at Kandinsky style paintings and making our own containers. When we were looking at Kandinsky style paintings, we listened to music and made our own paintings. Also, we made our own clay containers, which we painted and made.
We made containers out of clay. We made them, we left them to dry, and then we painted them.
Then we had to write valuation, like 2 stars and a wish.
In PE, we have been doing orienteering following on from when we went to Marchant's Hill. Orienteering is where you have to guide each other using north, east, south and west round obstacles or cones. We also went to Morden Hall Park where we did orienteering and we had to find our way around. And then inside in the hall we have been doing dance, space dance, and we were just creating imaginative dances about that, yeah.
In French, we have been looking at directions and what we might find in our hometown. Some of them include a restaurant, which is Le Restaurant, a boulangerie, which is a bakery, and a cafe, which is Le Cafe.
This term, We've been looking at a programme called SketchUp in which you can design anything. We were all given a task in which to get into partners and design a house for someone special. Me and one of my friends, Daniel, did a boating house for a famous kayaker. Our house included a lake and a huge garage for lots of kayaks and a big car. This programme has a function in which you can import almost anything directly to your system. Thank you.
We've been learning how to play the trumpets, trombones and baritones. We also know how to play hot cross buns.
In our room, we have been learning about peace and how our 7 R's and our school code all combine together and makes them all religions have peace in it.
In PSHE, we have done 2 lessons about why it's good to be me. I think the reason that this is our topic is because it's putting across that you are amazing, even if you don't think it sometimes.
We have also been doing friendships and how we can solve problems or arguments between 2 friends and ways to do that.
Remember, we went to Marchion's Hill, and at Marchion's Hill, it's got PGL, and lots of people say PGL stands for Parents Get Lost, but it actually stands for Peter Gordon Lawrence, who made Marchion's Hill.
At Marchion's Hill, we did a massive zip wire where it was really long and really high in the air. We climbed up to the top of a big tower and jumped off. We also did archery, and we played a game where you had to get certain colours on the archery target for each time.
We also went on the big swing and power plan. The power plan was when you lined up a big, tall, long pole and then jumped off. You could either go backwards or forwards and like you were dying. Another thing we did was the big swing. It was when you got pulled up to the top of this really tall poles, and then you would just let go, and it was awesome. My favourite thing about SASM is the awesome school trips we get to go on. My favourite one so far has been the Marchion's Hill.
The thing I like best about SASM is PE because you do all different types of sports like basketball, football, cricket, rounders, netball, and it's really good because you just get to do lots of different things and some you haven't tried before, like tack rugby.
Because I love to learn. Also, I feel very safe here because there's lots of adults around me, plus I have lots of friends.
I like SASM because I like coming into school and knowing there are people who care for me there. I feel safe in SASM because there are absolutely no bullies. I love to learn here.
What I like best about SASM is the mini market. So when we all go into different groups and we decide what we're doing, then we raise money for the British Enterprise.
My favourite thing about SASMs is how we go to trips, for example, Wooden Hall Park.
Numeracy, we have been learning fractions, decimals and percentages.
We also have been learning about word problems, and they're quite hard. And we've also been learning about bus stop method, and there's this really good online homework called My Maths, and it's really easy and you don't have to write anything down.
In literacy, we were doing autobiographies, biographies and diary entries. So for the autobiographies, we were doing a biography about ourselves, and then in biographies, we were doing a biography about Charles Dickens, so we researched him and we did a big write about him. Then in diary entries, we did a diary entry about this book called Archie's War, and then we looked at the book and then we did a big write about a big part of his life.
In science, we've learnt about adaptation and how different animals adapted, and we learnt that T-Rexes adapted and turned into chickens over millions of years by growing wings and becoming smaller.
And we've learnt about Charles Darwin's theory of survival of the fittest and how he became famous for his theories. And we also learnt about adaptation and evolution of how animals grew into different environments.
In humanities, we've been learning about the rich and poor in the Victorian times, and the workhouses are extremely hard. There was the youngest person who was born there was 1 month old, and it was very hard conditions working there. The poor who had no money used to go there to stay there and get food, but they had to work for the people.
Charles Darwin was a man who researched animals and how they adapt to their environment. Charles Dickens was a person who wrote lots of famous books we might read today, and Florence Nightingale was a young nurse who was French.
And we've also been doing Victorian Day, where we had an amazing teacher come in to teach us, and he actually showed us all the real stuff they used in Victorian times. And we also made a feast and all sorts of really kind of fun stuff. We had sandwiches, we had drinks, but the drink that was really unusual was lemon tea with honey in it, and it was really quite nice.
In DT last half term, we made slippers. So we made them out of felt, and the process was quite long. So first we did designing, then we measured our foot, then we made the slippers, then we did the evaluating.
In art, we've been learning about Matisse. He was a French artist. His colours were very bold. He was a famous artist, and his pictures and paintings were very famous. We did an art week. What we did in art week was we got 2 pieces of A4 paper, and we drew the first one in 3 sections and drew anything we like on the other one. And then we got crayons and we put colours and all sorts of patterns we did on one of the papers, and then we cut out any object you did and stuck it on the front, and they looked really good.
In ICT, we have trying to be making films with 3D. It was very hard, but in the end, we watched and it was really good.
In outdoor PE, we've done netball in competitive teams, and in indoor PE, we've done gymnastics using each other for balance.
While they were doing PE, some of the Year 6 children went and did bikeability, when we learned how to do bikeability level 2, which is all about biking on the streets and how to do it, and roundabouts and the traffic rules. And we got level 1s and level 2s to show which ones we did right. And in French, we were learning how to count from 1 to 20. We were learning how to say different types of clothing and your name. We had a special occasion for French. We had French Day, where we got to taste French food and had a French fashion show.
In RE last half term, we learned about what guidance Jesus gave to other people about behaviour, and we also did rites of passage, which is how to be good and like a timeline along your life.
In PSHE, we've been doing how to cope with bullying with a workshop telling us ways of helping people who are in danger of being bullied. For example, telling an adult or accompanying them in stress and times of danger.
In PSHE, we've also been learning about how we might like to improve SASM.
My favourite thing about SASM is ICT because it's really fun using the iPads and iPods.
My favourite thing about SASM is DT because you get to try doing different things like sewing and using tools.
The best thing I've done, or what SASM has done for us, is Victorian Day,
We got to have a Victorian tea party and I really enjoyed the food, the sandwiches, the drinks.
I liked going to Merchants Hill. It was really fun. We got to sleep in dorms. The most you could ever get in a dorm was for 8 people, and food was really nice. But the thing I'm most looking forward to is going to the Isle of Wight, because you get to stay there for 5 days without your parents, and I think that'll be really nice.
What I like best about SASM is the way we show the artistic sides and everything instead of always seeing the theory.
My favourite thing about SASM is how we raise money for charity, because it's always really